Good morning, children. How are you all? I hope you're all well and smiling and ready for today's lesson. Well, today we are going to learn about a kind but a lazy man, Rip Van Winkle. It's a very interesting story. You can see him here in the picture along with the children in his village and his dog. So, let us begin with the story. This story is about Rip Van Winkle, a good natured but lazy man who goes away into the hills and falls asleep. When he awakens 20 years later, Rip finds that quite a few things have changed. So, isn't it interesting to know how could a man sleep for 20 years altogether? So, the story is like this. Many years ago, at the foothills of the Catskill Mountains was a little village. In the village lived a simple, good natured fellow named Rip Van Winkle. He was a kind neighbor, ready to help anyone. Everyone in the village liked him. The children of the village shouted with joy whenever they saw him because he played with them. He taught them to fly kites and shoot marbles and told them long stories. So, that means Rip Van Winkle was a favorite among the children of his village because he played with them, told them stories, and even flew kites with them. And he was also a very kind neighbor. He would help everybody. The only problem with Rip was that he was very lazy. He did no work on his farm and just idled away his time. Idled away his time means he just wasted his time. His fences were falling to pieces. His cow were going astray. Fences, that is the fence with which the boundary of the farm was made. It was falling, and even the cow, it was not coming back after grazing. It was going astray. He was not looking after his animals. Weeds grew on his farm. Rip's constant companion was his dog named Wolf. To avoid work, he would walk away into the forest with his dog. So that meant he was very lazy and he never took care of the farm and his animals. One day, Rip just walked on and reached the highest part of the mountains. It was late in the afternoon when he reached there. Tired after his long climb, he lay down and began daydreaming. Daydreaming is when you are seeing dreams in the daytime, even when you are not asleep. It was soon evening, and he realized it would be night by the time he reached his village. So he fell asleep there on the mountains itself. Suddenly he heard a voice calling out, Rip Van Winkle, Rip Van Winkle. He looked around and saw a short old man with thick hair and a grizzled beard. Grizzled is having grey hair in it, walking towards him with a barrel. Barrel is a wooden container. He made signs to help him carry the barrel. So that man wanted that Rip should help him to carry the barrel. Rip hurried to help the stranger, who caught his hand tightly. Together they reached a place where there were some more odd looking men playing nine pins. Nine pins is a game, children. Many of you must be aware of it, where there are nine bottles, and with the help of a ball, you are supposed to uh, drop those bottles maximum as you can. So these men, they were all odd looking and they were playing this game. They were all dressed the same way and all of them had beards of various shapes and colors. You can see them here. They are not dressed properly. They are oddly dressed, having different colors of beards. Even though they were playing a game, their faces were serious and there was silence. Isn't it strange? When you play a game, you enjoy the game and you're not serious. But here they were playing a game, yet there was silence. The only sound was the noise of the balls, which echoed in the mountains like thunder. So, this is the game they were playing, and the noise was made by the ball, which was very loud. It was echoing in the mountains. As Rip and his companion reached them, they stopped playing and stared at Rip with a fixed gaze. Stared is look continuously. Rip was really frightened. His companion emptied the contents of the barrel into glasses and made Rip drink it. Rip obeyed as he was trembling with fear. So that meant Rip was really afraid. He was trembling, shaking. Since he was thirsty, he drank a few more glasses and slowly fell into a deep sleep. So, after drinking whatever was there in the barrel, Rip Van Winkle went off to sleep. On waking up, he found that he was at the place where he had first met the old man. So, when he woke up, he was not where there were other men, but he was at the place where he was originally lying down. He rubbed his eyes. It was a bright sunny morning. Surely I have not slept here all night, thought Rip. So he was wondering whether he was there all night. He looked around for Wolf, but he was nowhere. Wolf is his dog, remember? Rip whistled for him. Wolf, Wolf, he then shouted. No dog was to be seen. Where has his dog gone? He muttered to himself. He began to descend the mountain to go back to his village. So he started coming back from the mountain so as to come back to the village. And his dog was nowhere to be seen. As he neared the village, he met a number of people, but he didn't know any of them. The villagers also stared at him, equally surprised. Who is this man? Said one. So when he came near his village, he saw many people, but he was surprised that he did not know any of them. They all looked like strangers. And the villagers also looked at him because they also could not recognize him. I have never seen him before, said another. Look at his long white beard and his wrinkled face. So he had a long beard, Rip Van Winkle, and wrinkles on his face. Old people generally, their skin becomes loose and they get wrinkles on the face. On hearing this, Rip stroked his chin. He felt for his chin, started feeling himself, and to his astonishment, he found his beard had grown a foot long. So when Rip tried to feel himself, he saw to his great surprise that his beard had become almost a foot long and it was all white. An old woman walked up to him and looked at his face for a moment. Then she exclaimed, It is Rip Van Winkle. Welcome home again, old neighbor. So that means this old woman was Rip's neighbor. Where have you been these 20 long years? Oh, so for 20 years, Rip had been sleeping on the mountains after drinking that drink from the barrel. So this is adapted from The Legend of Rip Van Winkle by Washington Irving. That's the writer of this story. I hope you have understood the story, children. You must read the story again from the text in your books or from the PDF that I will send you. Also, learn all the difficult spellings, write down the word meanings in your notebook and the exercises in the book that I will be sending you. In case you have any doubts or any problems, please feel free to ask. Keep learning, children. Stay healthy, stay smiling, stay happy. Bye.